the date of Thursday, June 28th of 2018, were you responsible at approximately 8 a.m. for escorting an inmate to the satellite cell on the 9th floor?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember the individual's name?
His name was inmate Baker.
Okay. Showing you what's been previously marked as People's 14. Do you recognize this individual here?
Yes.
And is this the inmate that you are talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a standard procedure that's followed with respect to any property that the inmates bring out with them from their respective custodial facilities run by the sheriff to the court?
Yes.
And what is that?
We search out their property and their person.
Why do you do that?
For the safety of ourselves and the safety of the other personnel and the inmates that are in the lockup.
Okay. And did you find anything when you searched the inmate Robert Baker on June 28th of 2018?
Yes.
And can you describe what that was, please?
It was a manila folder and a clear toothpaste container.
Inside the manila folder, what, if anything, did you find?
He had various papers in there. And also I don't recall everything.
All right. Your Honor, I have 3 photographs relating to this evidence, all dated June 28th of 2018. Lower left-hand corner has the numbers 1 through 3 respectively. May they be marked, please, collectively as People's 228?
Yes.
Showing you what's been now marked as People's 28. There's a 228 and there's a 1 in the lower left corner. Do you recognize what you see here?
Yes.
And what is this?
This is one of the documents that was inside of the manila folder.
And in this same picture, do we also see the toothpaste tube as well as some handwritten documents?
Yes.
Bless you. Showing you People's 228, there's a 2 in the lower left corner. Do you recognize what you see here?
Yes.
And again, is this a close-up of the documents and this hand-drawn?
Yes.
I don't even know what to call it. Piece of paper and then the edge of the toothpaste tube to the right?
Yes.
Showing you People's 228, there's a 3 in the lower left corner. Does this appear to be the toothpaste tube that you recovered?
Yes.
Along with the documents as we've described?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Once you recovered these items from Robert Baker's possession, what did you do with them?
I brought them out into the courtroom to Sergeant Westfall.
Who is Sergeant Westfall?
At that time, he was my supervisor.
Okay. And at that point, did you provide all of those items to the lieutenant?
I provided them to Sergeant Westfall? Yes.
Okay. And there is an envelope there in front of you that was marked yesterday as People's 227. Can you open that exterior envelope and remove what's inside and tell us if you recognize it, please?
Found a tube of fresh mint toothpaste. We're going to pause it there. When we come back, we'll get you back in for more testimony. Stay with us on Court TV, your front row seat to justice. Back now to California, where we have been showing you key testimony in the celebrity stylist murder trial. Defendant Monica Sementilli is accused in the murder of her famed hairstylist husband Fabio Sementilli. Prosecutors say Monica and her lover Robert Baker killed Fabio in order to continue their affair and to gain money from Fabio's life insurance policy. We want to get you back into court now. Remember, the first witness of the day just testified about finding a toothpaste fresh mint tube on Robert Baker, and now we have an analyst testifying about that toothpaste container that was recovered from Robert Baker's body. Let's go back in.
The item was passed to the defendant. There was no evidence that the item was passed to the defendant. Is that sufficient, Mr. Levine?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, proceed.
Thank you. What did you do with the contents of that toothpaste tube?
I performed some biological testing on that. So I began by taking some of the liquid and I used that to moisten a swab, which is basically a sterile Q-tip. And then I tested that Q-tip. I performed a presumptive test for seminal fluid. It's basically a chemical color change test. So you add certain chemicals, and if seminal fluid may be present, they will turn a purple color. So I performed that test on the swab with the liquid, and it did in fact turn purple. Okay. So that indicated to me that I needed to do more testing, because there are some other substances that will give you a positive chemical color change test. So the idea is that if you get a negative, you know that the substance you're testing for is not present, and you can move on to something else. But if you get a positive, now that gives you the indicator to test more definitively for the substance you're looking for.
Let me ask you a question. This color change test, we've heard testimony in this case regarding blood evidence. Is it a similar chemical test to one that would be utilized by experts such as yourself to test for blood? A similar type color change test?
Yes, the exact chemistry is slightly different, but the idea is the same, is that when certain components in the fluid we want to find are present, they will create a visual change in that chemical, and that will indicate that that fluid could potentially be present in whatever the stain it is that you're testing.
So once you got that presumptive positive result for semen, what did you do at that point to confirm?
That led me to create a microscope slide from some of that liquid, stain it. So I added some of that liquid to a glass slide. I allowed it to dry. I added certain stains that would color the different cell types. And then I visually looked for sperm cells using a microscope within that liquid. And I did in fact find a large amount of sperm cells within that liquid.
Is there some type of rating system that you use based on the volume of sperm cells?
There is a grading system. It's not very defined, but if you can find a multitude of sperm cells in each area, because you aren't able to look at the entire stain in one shot, you have to move the slide around to view the entire stain. So in each viewing, if you can see a multitude of sperm cells, we would rate that as a 4+, which is the highest. And then 3+ would be a little bit less, and maybe not in every viewing. That's a 3+, and a 2+ would be less, and in some viewings, and so on as it goes down. So this particular slide rated as a 4+.
And once you looked at it under the microscope, what is the next step that you did?
So the next step is that I wanted to perform DNA analysis on the fluid with the sperm cells in order to obtain the DNA profile from that sample.
And so subsequently, did you do that so that you could proceed through to the DNA process?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Also, subsequent to that time, did you receive a reference sample for an individual by the name of Robert Baker? When we say reference sample, again, we're talking about a known sample.
Correct. And yes, I did.
And did you receive that from Randy Zepeda, who works in the DNA section of the LAPD's crime lab?
Yes, I did.
And is he someone you've known for years from your work in the lab?
Yes, he is.
Bless you.
He might have even been in one of my classes.
Okay.